just my little intro for this video. My recommendation is, what I had to do is I do all, like I said, I do all my do-it-yourself it myself, because I rarely get any help to do anything. So if you got friends that can help you just pick this up and put it up where it can be worked on, I would do it that way. But my rigging for this was just what I had laying around, what I had to work with in the garage. I was comfortable with it. It did go well, but do not attempt it if you might get a kick or a little bit of a chuckle out of watching how I rigged this up to get it up on a higher place for me to work on. But I would not attempt that yourself.
This is going to be me just replacing all the audio with a different microphone on my laptop. See how this works. I'm trying to replace a flip switch with a key switch in my generator, and here I'm going to make all these precision measurements and lay everything out real nice, but then nothing showed up on the gray. So okay, the next idea is I'll put some masking tape on it and I'll be able to see all my marks, and that worked out real good. But then I'm crunching all the math, and this and here and this 30-second that, this and halfway's here and my center's over there, and going back and forth. And it got to a point where I'm just like, hey, just never gonna get it plotted out very well. So okay, here we go. We're just gonna go drill a hole, which will be coming up here pretty soon. But this is me trying to make my center and my precision measurements. I just need the small rectangle to get a hole in to mount the key switch. But it came, let's just go ahead and clamp it down to a bench, drill a hole, draw a circle, take out my roto zip, and just start carving the thing out until the key switch fit into the hole. So get the key switch in, and okay, yeah, that looks pretty good, and it'll screw in there nice. It had some flat spots on the sides. It shouldn't turn. There we go. All right, so now I just got to go ahead and, cut that piece out. And I got like an old time, so my acrobatic suspended from the ceiling upside down, cutting out my piece that my key switch will go ahead and mount into, and then I'll just mount that. I'll fasten that into the panel of my generator, so then instead of a flip switch that I keep leaving on and forgetting to turn it off, then hopefully that'll, having the key in there will remind me to take the key out of it. So that's pretty much what all this is about. And then next here is, okay, so there, I'm gonna talk here pretty soon about what this my key did.
So I'm pretty sure I got the right switch. It's off, on, and then start, the momentary start. I believe those are the right connections.
And they were not. Upcoming here, you're going to see where I went through, opened up the panel of my generator, and found out I was wrong. I bought that switch because I didn't want to have my generator all apart, waiting for a switch to show up.
All right. Drank way too much coffee this morning, and by the afternoon I crashed hard. I couldn't see myself doing anything. But then on the way home, I felt like I was getting my second wind, and it's really nice outside. It's, cloudy, but it's warm. It's nice to be outside. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try to go ahead and maybe tinker outside in the garage and get something done. But unfortunately, right now, the only thing is I have my generator. I want to put my key switch in it, get rid of the flip switch, put a key switch in. And to work on it on the ground is going to be very difficult, especially if I have some trouble getting some stuff in. Like I said, the panel I want to take off over here is just going to kind of I got to be real careful with all the wires coming off the generator. So it would be nice if everything was right here, about chest level. But the problem is, I have to get that to there. So here's my setup. First thing is though, is I got my ladder that goes ahead and it's holding up I got some support there. I don't really have a whole lot of like cross bracing up in my garage here, but that one looks like it's the other end down there is not the greatest. But now I have a vertical support with my wood ladder there, and then behind the generator is my jack pushing up on it ever so slightly, and then that's my lift, is my my come along. Please remember, I'm a professional. Do not try this at home. This is a very hokey setup, but it will work. So let me go ahead and loosen up the swivel, the pivot, and that I put in there just real quick to go ahead and give me some stability on the other end over here. Just some pretty good screws, deck screws in there. So right now I think I'm gonna do pretty good as far as the lifting that up. So I mean, would have been a good idea. Go ahead and get the manual, find out what the weight of this thing is. We don't want to do that. We're just gonna guess. So let's try this. Well, first of all, to show you this, I mean, I did try to do this as carefully as possible. We'll do it on this side because I think you can see. I mean, I made sure to plumb up my verticals, so we're good. We're pretty level, going both ways. And I'm not going to go ahead and, hit on it. So we're going to be pulling down on it. We will be pulling down on it pretty evenly. I won't have to move it over this way. And then, so I got my vertical there. So I'm a little over this way, closer to my vertical, which will be stronger. And what else am I gonna do? Well, here you go. I already done this once. Let's do this a second time. My nifty little stool. Let's go ahead, grab on right by where I will be lifting, and let's do the 200-pound test. And from what I can see, it handles at least 200 pounds without any creaking, cracking. So I got that tight, and it's just a little being pulled off the ground just a little bit, and I don't hear any creaking, cracking, nothing of the sort. From underneath it. The only other thing I can think of that might it's wobbling a little bit. Grab it here. That I don't like. Well, that's a distinct possibility.
Yeah, to finish that thought as I was ratcheting, is the only thing I was concerned about is the actual ceiling joist there to maybe actually turn and flip from the weight of the generator. But as you can already see, I think it went pretty well.
out of here, I gotta before I take this out of here, I'm gonna have to before I take this out of here, I'm gonna have to oil the hell out of this thing. They do not want to really. Yeah, like I said, my problem is I kept leaving that on, and I mean, see, we got its battery's completely dead. I do have a drill, like a screw gun, but a lot of times I still work with wrenches. Probably. I got 5 gallons in now. Probably would have been a good idea for me to siphon the gas out of it and make it lighter before I hoisted it up into the back of my truck. But I got pretty good at siphoning gas. I don't remember the last time I actually tasted gas. That went well. I didn't get a mouthful at all there. I just filled it up because I lost power and it was running for a little bit, and probably a good 1/5 of the weight of this thing was gas. So I need to one, lighten it up to get it back on the ground, and also this supports the tank on this side. Once I lighten up the tank, I just thought of a way I can just lift it up just a little bit. I don't want to disconnect my gas lines, and I don't want to mess with the seal and those clamps and all that. All I need to do is there's just 4 bolts, 2 here, 2 here, and then I could just go ahead and drop this thing down a little bit. There's enough wire and all that to move it around. I might even put this back because it's going to go with it. So this is a sensor that'll, if it sniffs too much CO, it'll shut itself down. Okay. All right. For a long time, I was while I was getting all this apart, I got this loose, got these screws out. Here we go. Okay. So there was a bunch of time that I was just not recording. I thought I was. But what I did was I just got this panel loose, 4 bolts, and then got these 6 screws out, and then so your display comes off here. So that's the switch I want to remove. This one right here, and they kind of got it glued in. And turn it off just to make sure. Well, it shit's pretty hard. So I don't know if you can see over there. Yeah, there you go. I got the top out. Let's see, we got a black. We just got a black there. That's a single wire. We got these greens. Okay, and then we got the black. So it's black on the top. Remember that. The two blacks on the top, green with a yellow stripe in the middle, and a single black at the bottom. Well, unfortunately, from what I'm looking at here, I might have the wrong switch. Alright. So I didn't want to have, see, always good to double check. I didn't want to have my generator apart while I swapped, waiting on a switch and all this. But the two things I found out really quick is it mounts in like this. I mean, so that's off, that's on, that's start. Okay, so it goes through these three connections. And apparently, the way this works is these two connections here are a normally closed, well wait, turn it off, and then these are normally closed. No. This one and this one. This one and this one. Okay, there you go. Okay, the two top ones are normally closed when it's off. You turn it on and it opens back up. So now I'm not getting continuity through any of these. But when I go across the top, or I'm sorry, the middle, and they're all numbered, I'm going off of 4, 5, and 6. When I go across 5 and 6 and go to start, then it's closed. Okay. That switch, that key switch that I bought, one that's for 12 volts, because I thought it was a 12 volt battery to start it, that's what I was. But this switch here is rated for 250 volts and 16.8 amps. Probably, well, 16 amps at a lower voltage, 8 amps at a higher voltage, I'm assuming. So I have to find a switch that does the same thing, or I can't use it. That's why this might actually go back in there, and I scrap this idea for now. But at least now I know. And then another thing I can do, yeah, alright, so, oh, that's the other side. Okay, so I'll be plugging this back in. So across 5 and 6, it's open, it closes. Across 4 and 6, it's open. Across 5 and 4, it's closed when it's off. So probably what that must do is it grounds it. Yeah. So then you put it to run. So, but this switch here is set up for, right now it is closed in the off position. And then when you put it to run, it opens, and it will allow the engine to run. When you go to off, you're shorting out your spark system, your ignition system, and it shuts it off. But then there's a when you go to start, then it closes, and I believe that's just powering up your solenoid for your starter. But unfortunately, this switch is rated for 250 because I believe it's using, I didn't realize, I thought it was only using a 12 volt system coming off the battery. It hurt. So I'm not jacking it up very far at all. I'm just getting it. I did want to chalk. I should have chalked the wheels the last time. But I think I'm all right. The idea is you're just lifting straight up. The only thing is though that to keep in mind is when I'm lifting it, not to let it sway, because it might actually just try to take this whole beam and snap it this way. But I mean, if my come along works better than it did before, push this in. I'm not going anywhere with it. Let's see how this comes out. Okay, first of all, better lighting. My garage door behind the camera, with the light shining on this, you should be able to see really well. And a proper microphone where, even though I'm away from the camera, you should be hearing me pretty well. Hopefully my narration's better and I won't have to keep on, removing audio and adding it in later. But I didn't do the oil change while it was in the back of the truck. Didn't have the oil. Wanted to get this all put back together, and I haven't run it yet. Or I did run it, but not with a battery. So it did work, and that's a new battery. And I want to see if I'm all good there. This comes with basically just your transformer power supply, very, kind of small one, but it just plugs into here. I put it in there for a couple days or longer. I believe the battery is sufficiently charged. All right, this is gonna come out kind of slow. I'm gonna let that drain. So right now my hour meter is showing 424, and before I go ahead and run it again, try to start it with the with the electric start, which the pull started always started one pull. So I just figured for the price of the battery, not a bad idea to fix it. So I did just get a quart of oil. I looked at the book. Don't just think any oil will go in there. You know, I want this to last, you know, and protect it. So they recommended the 5W30 for a long range of temperatures, which I could be running in the summer, I could be running in the winter. So I went with that, but they did want a synthetic motor oil. It's a synthetic blend. I'm sure it'll be pretty good. Here, 500 hours. I'm just short of my 500 hours. That's a pretty good break-in period. Just blocked up the other side a little bit so I can tilt it this way. I like getting all the old oil out. So I'll be patient, let it drain. Not a bad idea. You know, the seat here at the bottom of the block, you know, clean that off real good. These aluminum seals, got a few uses on them. I do replace them from time to time on my car. I do very frequent oil changes for the warranty, and I've already, I think, just once replaced the drain plug. Got it from the dealership. Just make sure that it was going to keep seating on me. I did not look up what the break-in or frequency of the oil changes were on this, but like I said, that 500 hours probably has a torque spec for this too. But I'm pretty good at tightening drain plugs down. Okay, so now I'm sitting tilted this way. I'm going to set it back down and fill it with oil. And of course, well, I got my funnel. This generator comes with a nice little dipstick. You see here, I'll make sure I'm focusing on you here. Okay. You got your little high and low range. So you can go by, purchased it. It just came with a bag of oil to put in there. Oh, isn't that neat? Now that I've tilted it this way, I can see there's a little picture on there of where your oil level is supposed to be. Isn't that nice? Too bad. One quart got me to the mid-range of my dipstick. So I'm a little bit above, halfway above low, halfway below high. I have sufficient oil to run it. I wouldn't run it for hours, but just to fire it up for the video demonstration, I think I'll be okay. And I made it. Driving home was atrocious from work. I'm not going back out there for like that much oil. All right, so what I put in there was this 530 synthetic blend. Didn't have, when I went to a different store, they didn't have that. All they had was the full synthetic. I don't like mixing oils at all. If the blend in the full synthetic blend had different additives, I took apart an engine that was nothing but sludge inside. So I went and I found the exact same oil that just to top it off. And here's a good example of what a 140 some thousand mile engine looks like inside if you don't mix oils and do a very careful oil changes, frequent and careful oil changes. So I think we're going to be all right. Like I said, just to run it. Okay, so I'm going to turn my gas on. I probably just got enough gas just to run it for a little bit. It's almost empty, but it's got gas. So my choke The gas is on. We're on. Die. All right, well, hopefully that wasn't too loud. Maybe I can lower the volume on that. But now remember to turn it off. So now what I think I'll do is when I change the filters in the furnace, I do it every 3 months to change the seasons. I'll go ahead and I'll plug my charger back in and keep my battery charged up. We are done.